voice of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is, how would we describe it? Beautiful Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee. Temperature in the low to mid 80s. Wow. Early for all of this, but we'll take it. Not bad stuff. Let's check in Murfreesboro with Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, what's going on?
What's up, Jorge? How you doing?
I'm good. Hope you are.
Good. Doing okay, man. Doing all right.
What's going on in your world?
Well, you're gonna call me a little spoiled brat right now. That's just the way it is. But I'm getting my pool open today, and I cannot tell you how much I loathe the pool. I've had one for 20. Yeah, low that I can't stand it. I wish that I didn't have one, because now it's my job to get all the crap out of the pool, clean it, do all that. Nobody around here, they just get to enjoy it. They don't have to do all that, you know?
Invite me over.
No.
Thanks. I didn't want to come anyway. I'm not cleaning your pool. Parker, have you been hired to do that?
No, and if I was, I would decline. By the way, Kelly, you are a spoiled brat.
I wouldn't ask you, Parker. I don't want you near my house. How about that?
You know, Kelly, I used to be on the swim team back in the day.
Whatever.
Did you?
I did.
You kind of look like a big, tall, lanky swimmer. You look like that guy.
I got a little bit of a swimmer's body.
Mm-hmm. You do. Yeah, you do. You do. Yeah. You got a little bit of Michael Phelps in you.
I did want to be
about that good. I don't know about that good, but
I was not that good. But
I bet
nobody was that good.
Yeah.
No.
He was a beast.
He was a beast. Kelly, I've come to the conclusion that I was dead wrong about the NBA play-in games. I remember when it first got announced, I want to say about 4 years ago. I thought it was a stupid idea. But you know what? I'd be all for it right now in another league, because a team that isn't going to make it would suddenly have a play-in game.
That's right. Have a chance. Well, for one, it's just more money, but you know what? It is competitive. You know, you're going to have some competitive stuff, because the team that wins does have an opportunity to go on. So all you're asking for in professional sports is a chance. You make the playoffs. You might not have had a great regular season, but if you get hot at the right time and you start winning some games, you got a chance, and that's all anybody can ask for.
A friend of mine in Charlotte was telling me the Hornets have been pretty darn good this year compared to Charlotte teams of the past. And the city has kind of caught fire with them. So last night they win when a three-pointer in regulation forces overtime. They win essentially at the buzzer of overtime and move on. And good for Charlotte, because they haven't done a lot of winning over the years. And Portland beat Phoenix last night in a game that kept going back and forth and back and forth. It's some pretty good stuff. The games have been ridiculously competitive, and the NBA may have found something.
That's what you're going to get when you have those playing games. That's why I like what they do in the NCAA tournament. Like, you have an opportunity to make it, and it's just it presents a whole different atmosphere. Because I used to tell people all the time, I can remember when I first started in the NFL. Well, the preseason, nobody cares, and it's gotten to the point where nobody really cares now. But then the regular season has a certain intensity. But then when you make the playoffs, or you got a chance to make the playoffs at the end of the season, the intensity racks up. And then when you get to the playoffs, it goes even higher. And then when you get to an opportunity to get into a, divisional title game or an NFC or AFC title game, man, it's crazy, because you get to the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of that has to do with we're going to make more money too. I mean, they're giving us a little bit more cash on top of what we already got. But when you have games like that and you have an opportunity to do something, man, you're going to see a lot of competitive guys and a lot of competition.
Parker, do we have an update with substance? Or
That's
is
where
it
I was
just
going to head with my update. Actually, the NBA play-in.
Mhm.
I didn't watch any of it. George, was it really that entertaining?
I have no idea. I didn't see
You didn't
any
watch
of
it
it.
either. Okay, well, the
If
Hornets.
you think I'm paying for a subscription
Watch the
just because
NBA?
Prime got the games, thank you. By the way, Channel 5's pissing contest with Comcast apparently continues, or is it the other way around? I tend to think it's the other way around.
Who cares?
But,
The consumers are suffering for it.
yeah, so those who wanted
Figure
to
it
watch
out.
the Masters on Saturday and Sunday might have been in for a little surprise.
My parents were not happy. I had
Yeah.
to come over to show them how to use the Masters app so they could watch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's nice.
I was good on mine, man. I was worried about it, but I was good on mine. So
Okay, so the NBA play-in last night, the 9th versus 10th, it was Charlotte over Miami, 127 to 126. Apparently, at one point during the game, again, I didn't watch it, so if somebody listening happened to watch it, you'll have to let me know. There was an outage during the game, during overtime,
Right.
where it went off air for about 2 minutes, and they missed a LaMelo Ball bucket that gave Charlotte the lead. People were not happy, rightfully so.
When you sign up with these things, that's part of the gig.
Yeah. So,
And what I mean by that is, can you trust it? I don't know.
and they put something up on the screen that just said technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's a
Again,
big help.
people were not happy about that. And LaMelo apparently tripped Bam Adebayo. I didn't see if he got any punishment or anything, but grabbed his ankle and tripped him midair.
Was that while they were off the air?
I don't know. It was during a play though, so maybe it could have been.
Moving right along.
And Phoenix did they win? Yes.
No, they did not.
Lost.
Portland
They lost.
won.
Portland won 114 to 110. So Charlotte and Phoenix will both play on Friday. They will play against the winners of the 76ers and Magic and Clippers and Warriors, respectively.
George,
And-
we've talked about this. George, we've talked about this before. Do you think they'll ever get the Seattle Supersonics back?
Yes.
I think so too.
I think it's going to
I hope
happen
so.
pretty soon.
I think that was
Seattle,
awesome.
Seattle and Vegas, I think, are headed to the NBA.
So you know how we have the Oilers, Houston Texans debate down here. Would OKC people be upset? Would they be pissed if Seattle, the Supersonics came back? Since I guess that's their history.
Well, why should Seattle give a damn what OKC thinks?
They shouldn't. But
I
would
mean-
there be a big debate about that?
What's the debate? Seattle was a franchise. The Supersonics were doing just fine. Now, they had some arena issues at Key Arena, but why would OKC care? Did anybody in Nashville care when the Texans
No.
got back?
No.
There's your answer.
All right.
I was in. This is a funny story. I can't even remember. I think I was in Indianapolis. And did Indianapolis? Where did they move to? Did they go to Baltimore? Is that?
They
Or
came
that was
from
Cleveland.
Baltimore. They were the
They
Baltimore
came from
Colts.
Baltimore. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
correct. That's correct. So they came from Baltimore. So for the whole game, there was a guy behind us who heckled the whole game, and he goes, "Give us our trophies back! Give us our trophies back!" And I'm like, "Dude, build a bridge and get over it, man. Turn the page, homie."
By the way, some of that took place last night in the Red Sox Minnesota game. A spectator got all over Jared Duran,
Uh-huh.
and Duran turned
He's
around.
stealing. You're stealing my stuff,
No,
George.
that's okay. He flipped him a bird.
Yeah. He did.
I challenged the guy to a fight one night. He didn't partake though. He was tearing me up during the game, and I said, "Hey, buddy, come down here and tell me. Come down here and tell me." And he didn't want to do that. Of course, I was a bigger fella back then.
Yeah. Show him his
yeah,
boss, Kelly.
I did, and he didn't want to come down on the field. I said, "Come on down here."
That would have gone over really well.
I would have loved to have seen that.
You would have gotten
I
a
would have
little
been-
phone call from, would it have been Tagliabue?
Well, I think it was Goodell at that time. I don't know.
Roger
It might have been.
Dodger.
I think it was Goodell. I think it was because it
If
was
he
towards
had
the end. So
called And obviously he would have said, Kelly, we need to talk. You should have said, you're right. How do you make $44 million a year? You're not worth that.
I probably would have had something smart, but I don't think it would have been that intelligent, George.
Right.
That's pretty intelligent.
So Nashville SC got a big win over Club America last night, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I'm told by the soccer community that this is a really big deal because it's the first time that an MLS team has ever won in Mexico City.
One of the things that I'll admit I don't get, and I'm not the soccer fan that a lot of people are, but I've been to a bunch of games over the years. It's not like I haven't gone. But what'd you call it? CONCACAF?
CONCACAF.
Okay, then there's there's
The
about
play-in
there's every time you turn around, they're competing for something different. And I'll admit I don't totally understand it because I thought it was an MLS team.
I'm confused because I asked a guy who knew. They go back and forth. Like they're going to turn around on Saturday and play a regular season MLS game. And then the next week, they're back in the CONCACAF. And I'm just like, how does that work? How do you go back and forth like that?
It's confusing.
So big news for Vanderbilt today. The basketball team, they have brought former Texas head coach Rodney Terry onto the staff as an assistant.
Okay. He's replacing, I'm guessing, Bobby Crimmins, I think, nephew, who became the head coach at Georgia State.
Yes. And Bishop Boswell, former Tennessee guard, has committed to play for Buzz Williams in Maryland. So it's an interesting pairing. I did not expect that. Terrence Hill Jr., VCU guard, who dropped 30 on UNC in the first round game in the NCAA tournament, is actually visiting Tennessee right now as we speak. So that's a big deal. And Rob Wright, who had a visit, I believe, with Kentucky and Mark Pope, he entered the portal from BYU. He's now going back to BYU. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And we do, since I wanted to talk about this a little bit more yesterday, the Iowa punishment or whatever. Here's the full list of punishment for them. 1 year probation, a fine of $25,000 self-imposed.
Now, whoa. Stop. 1 year probation. What does that mean?
Don't know. That's what it says on NCAA.org.
Okay.
$25,000 self-imposed by the school fine. A 2-week ban on all football recruiting communication during the 2026 calendar year. A 24-day reduction in recruiting in-person visits.
Now, wait a minute. Say that again.
I read that wrong. A 24-day reduction in recruiting person days, including 2 weeks during which Ferentz was prohibited from off-campus recruiting.
That would be the head coach.
A vacation of all records in which the student athlete, in this case would be Cade McNamara.
Now, wait a minute. It's not a vacation. It's a vacating.
Vacated.
Goodness.
A vacation is when you go to Disney World.
I could go for a vacation. Whatever the word is. A 1-game suspension for Ferentz and Budmeyer, I believe is how you say it, the offensive coordinator during the 2024 season, which already happened. So this has been in the works for a while.
Whoop-de-doo.
That's like $25,000, really?
I don't know why they're just now bringing this to light.
For those of you watching, this is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have one of the players now, they're getting paid. Hey, you mind paying this for us? $25,000. Really? Wow.
And for Sharon Moore, 18 months of probation. There we go.
Yeah, but he might not.
George did that. It wouldn't be a.
Yeah, but he's going. I mean, I can see him having trouble getting another job. Can you?
Well, I would think for about 3 years that he is radioactive.
Yeah. I mean, and do you ever get it back? Is the whole deal? Like
I don't know.
I don't know. That's what all went down with him, and all that stuff that he went through and he did. That's going to be tough for him.
The wielding of a knife in that deal.
Yeah.
To me, elevated that to a little more than this probation.
Absolutely.
But I'm not the judge.
And breaking into the girl's house or apartment.
Right.
So that's it for the update.
Well, it certainly was
riveting. We went all over the place.
We did. Okay, after the break, Mike Organ from the Tennessean is going to join us. We got a variety of things to get into with him. Please stick around. We've got a good Wednesday show for you. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back on this Wednesday afternoon. Got a lot to talk about with Mike Organ from the Tennessean, so let's get him in here. Mike, again, congratulations on the Metro Nashville Public School Hall of Fame induction. Very happy for you.
Thank you, George, and you made it extra special with your induction. So I wanted to thank you personally for that. You did a great job hosting the show, but the ceremony, but thought you did a really good job for me. So
I threw away the notes when it came to you.
You did, and then you got them back and read them again, and you made mine one of everybody, and everybody was jealous and mad at me after the enshrinement.
Oh, wow. Tell them to get over it.
I did. That's exactly what I said.
So, Mike, I want to talk about Dave McGinnis for a minute. The public reaction to him has been exactly what I thought it would be. And what I realize now, and maybe I always knew it, but really didn't think about it. Dave McGinnis was the Tennessee Titans' best and frankly only friend raiser. This is a guy that anybody he came in contact with, he instantly made friends with.
Absolutely never met a stranger. Anyway, because of his career, and especially since he became a color analyst, I think even the average or below average fan, just the one that liked from the game on Sunday, he increased his popularity there, and he was just so approachable and easy to talk to, and on top of everything else, he was so knowledgeable that he could talk about anything. He could talk about the league, he could talk about other teams, and obviously he could talk about the Titans. And it's a huge loss to the franchise. It's just heartbreaking. And, he's going to be one of those that you don't want to try to replace because he's going to be difficult.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. Going around town like Monday night at the Preds game, Mike, I probably had 10 people stop me at some point during that game to ask me what I knew about it, to talk about it. He had a real impact in this community.
It started this, and I'm not overstating this. This was almost like an Elvis death or a John Lennon death or a Kennedy death for me in my circle. It started with me getting texts and emails from people wanting to know if we had confirmed the death yet. It had gotten out of his word and wanted to know if we confirmed it. And that's the first I'd heard of it. So I started paying attention midday. It was like you, George. It went from that to when it got confirmed, people calling or texting, several people calling. Man, can you believe Coach Mack? And it didn't stop until the day was over. I didn't see the number of people you saw probably because you were at a Preds game, but just in my circle of friends and the contact with, like I said, it was like a huge celebrity death. And rightfully so, because the man had that kind of impact in this area that some of these, enormous had on the world.
Mike, you have done a lot of writing about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s visit to Nashville. Kind of talk to me about what it was like, things he may have told you, reasons why he came, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it started off, George, with just knowing he was going to come and knowing we had to get out there because Dale Earnhardt remains, if not one of the biggest, if not the biggest name in NASCAR today. You don't have huge personalities like back when his dad raced and before that. And he was the 15-time consecutive most popular driver, and he has parlayed that into a career where he's only gotten bigger, which you just never hear of, George. You retire at an early age like he did in his 40s, and early, not for racing, but still a life to live is what I'm saying. And you just take it to another level with your broadcasting career and podcasts and team ownership and partnerships and the things he's done. It's just amazing. I remember one of my favorite rock videos, and I know Nickelback's not very popular with a lot of people, but the one about I Want to Be a Rock Star, where Dale Jr. is on his property in his race suit, remains one of my favorite ever. And I've talked to him about that. And I said, you truly are a rock star. And that's what people call him, is a rock star of NASCAR. And obviously we knew we had to get over him, not only because of who he is, but because he's had local impact. He's come to joined Marcus Speedway Racing, who wants to bring NASCAR back to the Fairgrounds Speedway. He's joined some of Marcus's meetings with government and city leaders about doing that. He did that volunteer. I'm going to go back with Marcus, see what needs to be done and offer any help I can. So, there was newsworthiness there that we need to go talk to him about. And he's one of those guys that is just so approachable we knew, he raced here for the first time in 26 years on Saturday. So I went out on Friday for him to finish practice. And then once he finished practice, he came over to me and about 3 or 4 other reporters. And George, he was going to give as long as we need. We took about 40 minutes, and he would have stayed for an hour without any question. They had a big party tonight. She sponsored the race, and so he had already taken care of that obligation. He didn't have anything else Friday night. And we obviously asked about what he thinks about the future of the track, Fairground Speedway, where there's opposition, there's pushback about bringing NASCAR here. And he said he was worried at this point, George, not about getting NASCAR here. He said this place isn't NASCAR or bust now. Place now is just to make it survive. He said, I'm more worried about the survival of this track than I am getting NASCAR back. He said, so we got to get our priorities right, basically. He said, I hope Marcus can come in and do what he wants to do, which is to renovate the track, put a sound barrier up, which will make it more friendly for the neighborhood, and just give it the upgrades it needs, George. It hadn't had much work done in the last 40 years. And he said, but the main thing is just to keep it here and keep local racing going. And he's got a great interest in grassroots racing. That's why he owns a series along with Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks. And they brought that here. And not only did they bring it here, he raced in it. And it brought out a jam-packed only crowd at Fairgrounds, probably one of the biggest it's the biggest I'd ever seen. Not just but in energy and enthusiasm. The crowd stayed on its feet. He ran average. He started 25th himself, and you would have thought it was for the NASCAR championship. They cheered every time he passed somebody. They cheered every time his name was on PA, and they stuck around afterwards. They showed up at 8 o'clock that morning to get a photograph, and that night till about 9 to see him after the 2 races. And a lot of them. So, I know I talked a lot, but I can't overstate how big his visit here was and the impact it made, because it gave the race crowd that is trying to bring NASCAR back and trying to help the track survive. It gave them something tangible now to take to the government, to take to the mayor, to take to the fair board, and say, here's what we've got. We've still got hardcore racing fans around here, whether they're NASCAR or not. We've got hardcore stock car racing fans. Look at who showed up and look at how they reacted on Saturday night just to see Dale Earnhardt run 100 laps.
Mike, I remember this has been more than 20 years ago. I met Dale Earnhardt Jr. Out at Opryland. I had the opportunity to interview him, and I admitted him on the front end to him that I didn't know a damn thing about racing. And I remember he and I had a good laugh over it, and he was really just a normal Joe, and it really impressed me.
He's the easiest guy to talk to, among the easiest people I've ever talked to in life, be it celebrities, sports figures, friends from church, school, or you name it, the easiest guy. It's just, he's like Dave McGinnis. I'm not trying to make a stretch here. He's one of these 2 guys that we're talking about today are so similar. And you feel like you could talk to him about anything. I was like you the first time I met him. The first time I met him, George, they a firm that had brought him in was Monster Energy. It's who he was racing for at the time. They were going to do a stunt, and they were going to walk through a downtown business office in his jumpsuit, giving free Monster Energy drinks to employees in this secretary, executives, assistants, whatever. And they said, "You want to go?" And I said, "Are you kidding?" Absolutely. Tag along. And I walked 5 feet behind him as we walked into this office that nobody in this office knew that he was here. Now, this is a driver. This isn't, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or LeBron James. a NASCAR driver that you don't often see because he's got his helmet on and he's inside his car. And he walked into the place. People started scurrying around. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s here. And he just was so cool with it. He just walked through and get excited. Just handed, you want a Monster Energy drink? You want a Monster? And he just handed them out. And they, of course, were this live to make the commercial. And it turned out to be a great commercial. And that's the first time I ever met him. And after it was over, you want some time with? Absolutely. So they gave me 30 minutes with him in one of the offices. And I told him the same thing you did. I said, I don't know much about NASCAR, but I know I saw you in that video with Nickelback, and we started talking about that. And then we around and talking about the fairgrounds. And he was, he grew up at the fairground, racing at the fairground, and his dad races when the Cup's there. And so we basically just talked about him growing up and spending a lot of time at the fairground back then. And it's crazy. We were still talking about it when I talked to him for almost an hour on Friday night.
Kelly, what do you got for Mike?
I want to know this because, we talk about racing a lot with you, and I enjoy racing. I really do. But what is the opposition to bringing NASCAR back to Nashville? Like, who are the people that are opposing it? What is the opposition to bringing it back to the fairgrounds, Mike?
Well, there is some opposition for the residents in that area. However, there are no residents in that area that were there before the racetrack. So racetrack's been there for over years, but it's been in its form that it is in now. It's been there since '58 or something like that, paved. And so sound's been there for a long time. So there's nobody there that was caught off guard by the track. So, but there appears to be still some opposition from some people who live over there, who show up at some of the town hall meetings and are concerned about the noise ordinances and how much there's going to be beyond racing, because SMI is in the Kelly, as you probably know if you know much about racing, they don't just do races, they do concerts, they do a lot of other events. They're huge. I joke with people that they're bigger than NASCAR. This is who owns Bristol, 15 other tracks. And I think they're bigger than NASCAR in some respects. But anyway, so there is some opposition from residents. And then the other opposition comes from John Rich, who owns president of Soccer State. And John Ingram, who is the president of the soccer team and built the stadium and has built a apartment complex up next to the track. He would like that area below for his property, build more stuff, apartment buildings, and I imagine retail and parking for a soccer stadium and the commercial properties over there. So that's basically what it is. He opposes it, and the mayor is trying to decide between the two, either SMI or John Ingram. And John Ingram's very influential in this area, and he's got a lot of pots and fires. And I've known John Ingram for years. As George knows, at one point, John Ingram and John Hall and John Rich were probably the only people on the Vanderbilt Board of Trust who cared anything about athletics. And not only that, they were faced opposition on the Board of Trust from some who didn't want athletics. So I've known John Ingram since he was fighting that fight, and he's a businessman, and he wants what he wants, and he wants in most cases. Because he's got that kind of those kind of resources, so that's where you're at. It's a tug between those two. Right now, it's up to Freddie O'Connell to decide it. Megan Berry faced it, and she was leaning the speedway, the fairgrounds, before she abruptly left office. And then John Cooper was kind of right down the middle. Then he basically said it was done. After it was proposed officially in 2021, and he just never got it done before he left. And of course, he was a one-termer, and so it's fallen to Freddie O'Connell, and now we'll see what he does with it.
So what is your, Mike? You've been around all that stuff, like, and it brings so much employment to the area. I know it's loud, but it's not loud every night. It's going to be loud on a weekend. But like, what is your gut feeling? Do you think that they will get that done? Will the fairgrounds open back up? Will they be able to do renovations, or will John Ingram and company win?
Well, there's an ordinance that says it has to remain racing, no matter what. So now the opposition, and I'm sure behind that, is trying to get that ordinance changed where it doesn't just have to remain racing. Kelly, you made a good point. You said it's racing. It's not like a football stadium where you're going to have it every Sunday. It's
Right.
NASCAR, and it really, and this is my own opinion, it's not big enough to bring Cup back. The track's just not big enough. We saw at Bristol this week, that's probably about, the shortest track you're going to bring race Cup at. So I think what we're talking about is maybe running trucks or Xfinity, which is now O'Reilly Auto Parts series out there when the Cup comes to Nashville Super Speedway. Instead of running the trucks at the Super Speedway, they might run the trucks down here on a Friday night. And then one year they may run the O'Reilly Auto Parts series down here and run the trucks and the Cup up there. I think it's another thing where you're going to have a better down here. And also the other thing that could happen is the All-Star race. We see them going back to some of the historic places already, and that Nashville would definitely be in the mix for that. So you might see the All-Star race ran here 1 year or back-to-back years or once every 3 or 4 years. So we're not talking about an every week kind of thing. Now, if SMI comes in and does this, they're going to take care of the local racing, and they're going to fix it up so that the local drivers can race. But even then, they only race about 8 times a year. They don't race every week like they used to. So you're talking about maybe 12 racing events here, if they bring Cup back in some shape and local. And the thing about that is they will put in the sound barrier so it won't be nearly as loud as it is now. And they'll bring in the mufflers that the local drivers, but they could afford if they were able to make the improvements that they're talking about. So that's kind of where I see it right now. It's so logical to bring it in that it's hard for me to see that it won't be brought in. I just, I've said all along that I think it'll come, but we're going on 5 years now that this has been in debate. And, when we saw the super speedway come back to life up in Lebanon or Gladeville, that happened in a matter of a couple of months. And like I said, this started in 21, so we're into 5 years now with this. And I don't know how much longer SMI and Bristol are going to keep fighting this fight. Marcus wants to do it for his dad because this place was very special to his dad. And that's one of the reasons. Dad's obviously passed now. So that's one of the reasons he wants to, serve his legacy in that respect. So that's one of the reasons he stayed with it. And they feel like at this point they've got so much invested into it that they want to keep doing it until basically they're told no. And they haven't at this point been told no.
Okay, so let me let's switch gears on this. What have you seen out on West End with spring practice and everything? How has the Jarrett Curtis kid looked? And this is amazing. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, just about, we all wondered how Vanderbilt was going to, keep up with this new NIL stuff and this new transfer portal. And I just saw where Vanderbilt picked up a 4-star tight end now. They got a 5-star recruit with Jarrett Curtis, and now they picked up this kid that was a tight end that's a 4-star guy. How has that gone out there? How have they looked? How has Jarrett Curtis looked? How's all that going?
Okay, I'll be honest. I have put so much time, Kelly, into NASCAR the last 3 or 4 weeks that I have not gotten out to Vanderbilt. I was supposed to go out Saturday, and then somebody else on staff said they would go out, and they had a big scrimmage Saturday because I had the race Saturday night. So I was really looking forward to seeing that scrimmage and seeing how things what I will say is that exactly what you said. I'll reiterate what you said. We now see what we thought we were going to see. If Jarrett comes, other big stars, multiple stars will come. And I don't think there's any way that kid comes if Jarrett's not the quarterback there. I think that's a trend that we see in motion. We saw it in motion when he committed. His teammate who was committed to TCU, the big running back. I don't know if he's a fullback or a running back, but he's a good player because I saw him play. And so he withdrew his commitment to TCU and came to Vanderbilt. He was a guy that wouldn't have been there. So what we're seeing is more and more of what we expected. I would love to say I've seen Jarrett throw the ball. I really want to see him because I have concerns. The only concern I have is that he played on a lower division, AA, and or Division 2A. And I want to see him up against competition his size and even bigger. I want to see him. And, of course, that goes also with he's now going to have a line that's going to be big, so he can be better at this level. It's not just a matter of him dominating the competition that he did or, the smaller size kids that he gets. Well, he's going to have bigger kids on his side now, too, that he may have more time to throw the ball in college. I would say he will. Well, no, he won't. I shouldn't say that because obviously you don't have as much time. The game's so much faster. But putting it into perspective, he'll have more time than some players that would have because the offensive line is so good at Vanderbilt. That's the thing that Clark and F did over the last years. They knew they had a good quarterback. They went out and went to the portal and put together a good offensive line. They had one of the best offensive lines last year, and I expect them to do that again this year.
Kelly, did you just hear Mike diss the Division II single A? I mean, not all of us can play in that division, Mike. I don't appreciate the disrespect.
No, it's just a matter of, there's not as many big kids as you're going to see on 5 and 6A and top divisions. And Jarrett was just a monster out there. I mean, he at 6'4", almost 6'5", with those big hands. The kid's got huge hands. If he didn't have somebody open, he'd just say, okay, I'm just going to run over everybody and run in the end zone. I can't tell you how many times I saw him do that. And that's not going to work in the SEC. We know that. That's not going to work no matter where he would have gone to school at any college level. That's kind of what I'm talking about, Parker. But, hey, that division developed this kid, so kudos to that division for that.
Parker, I know a little something about that division. Did you all ever win anything?
Oh, yeah.
What?
State championship in 22.
Yeah, they won. They won one. I think I actually did the game, George.
Yeah,
I did the game.
That backfired quickly.
That really did.
All right,
take me off the picture now because I've got egg on my face.
That day.
Mike, I did want to stick in West End. I want to ask about the basketball team because they just brought on Rodney Terry as an assistant coach, a guy with former head coaching experience at Texas. Do you like the move? Do you not like the move? How do you feel?
Absolutely love the move, Texas. When I think of Texas basketball, I think of good basketball, and I don't know, if that's just because of we're close to it, but because they're in the SEC now, and I think that I always think Texas as one of the top. As a top 20 program, and to get a former head coach, that's amazing. It's equal to what the football team did, with the staff that Clark brought in. It's equal, or if it's not bigger, because his staff didn't come from another SEC school. Going back to Cliff Barnes and just that place is just Texas is good, and to bring in a former head coach from there and make it, I'm very impressed.
So this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's something that I think about a lot. Candace Story-Lee has done a phenomenal job across all athletic, programs at Vanderbilt during her tenure. Does it help that really the NIL transfer portal era that we're in right now is the only era that she's ever known. Does that help Vanderbilt overall?
Oh, wow. I just thought, and I will never deny that I thought that the NIL was going to be the death knell for Vanderbilt. I thought you've already got a school that can't compete with bigger programs and teams, state programs, and now you're going to ask them to come up with money to pay athletes the same amount as they do at these other schools. So the thing about Candace Parker is she had immense training at Vanderbilt before. She wasn't the head, but she trained under David Williams, and she saw what to do and what not to do during that time. And she was there when the NIL program came in, and she's obviously sharp. And I think it does help her that she's the only one that has done this. Now, there's other schools that have tried some things with NIL that haven't worked, but whatever Candace is doing, she has hit on. And I think she's benefited. I don't want to take anything away from her, but I think she's benefited from a friendly chancellor. And George and I can both tell you, just like I was talking about the Board of Trust earlier, the chancellors haven't always been pro-athletics at Vanderbilt. And Dearmeyer is he's the most chancellor Vanderbilt has had in modern day history when it comes to athletics. So that has been a big help for her too. But I think that while everybody was figuring this out, and they're still figuring this out, Candace is just ahead of the curve because she's sharp and she knew her program so well because it's the only one she's ever been associated with. She played there, and then she did all of her training for her current position there.
I have one more quick question. Do you think that the NIL, because clearly a lot of this is going to go to football, men's basketball, women's basketball is going to get a little bit, the Olympic sports are going to get a little bit. Do you think that this is hurting the baseball team? Because while they did get the number 1 overall seed in the baseball tournament last year, they were exits in the regional, and they haven't been up to Vanderbilt standard. Do you think this is hurting the baseball team a little bit?
I don't, I was worried about the baseball team until I talked to some of the people that cover it, some people that are more knowledgeable than I am. And I understand they've suffered some injuries. And, I usually don't pay a lot of attention to injuries in other sports, but when it comes to baseball, it's significant. Injuries can depend on where you're at, what position we're talking about. It can really affect your team. So until they get completely healthy and get back to where their key players back, I don't want to pass judgment or really project what's going on with baseball. I do think baseball overall across the country is suffering from NIL. Right now, you've got to keep your football program up. That's all there is to it, because that's your cash cow. And you've got to take care of football, and then football's got to take care of other sports. And then it's up to each individual athletic department as to how much it takes care of the other sports. I don't know how Title IX shakes down in all this, because it seems like we used to talk about Title IX all the time, and we don't talk about it anymore since NIL came around. So I don't know how that shakes out, how much goes to basketball, how much goes to men's basketball and baseball, but I think it is affecting baseball programs. They're all contingent on what the football programs are doing at those schools. Now, that said, Vanderbilt's NIL is strong, so there's no reason to think that it would affect the baseball team. That's why I think it's more injuries than anything else that they're struggling with right now. And outside, I guess, the top 25, and looking like they may not, they're going to be, I don't know if they're going to get into a regional or not.
Mike, appreciate it as always. We'll talk again here soon, and thank you very much.
Okay, George, look forward to listening to the Cats on Friday with you.
Okay, I like it. Appreciate that.
Okay, bye-bye.
We'll go to the break on that. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham, If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Guinness Music City Rugby Showdown brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity, hear the hits, experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of pro rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park and get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
This will be a very short third segment of the hour. So, Parker, what was the question you were asking Mike about baseball?
Well, since a large percentage of the NIL revenue is going towards football and men's basketball, women's basketball is probably going to get the third most, if I had to guess, at most places. Does that hurt baseball?
You know, I think when it comes to Vandy, why are they not at the level that Tim Corbin has always had them? It's one word. It's pitching. Their pitching isn't anywhere near what it has been in the past. And on the third and final day of conference play, whether it's on a Saturday or a Sunday, their offense better be prepared to score in double digits, because so far they have not been able to come up with a consistent third starter. Now, do I think Tim Corbin loves NIL? No, I don't. He said it to me. Do I like NIL? No, not in the way it's configured now. And to go back to some old stuff, the pendulum had swung too far toward coaches. Coaches could dictate to players where you could transfer and where you couldn't. And for the life of me, I never understood why a parent didn't sue a coach and say, we live in the United States. This isn't Ukraine. This isn't Russia. He ought to be able to go wherever he wants to go. Well, now, to me, the pendulum has swung way too far the other way. NIL should have been something that gave kids $20,000, $25,000 on the Power 4 level. This paying quarterbacks $7 million and $5 million, we're completely out of touch with reality. That's my opinion.
There was an article written. Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
I think that's everybody's opinion, though, at our age, George. But I don't know if people like Parker's generation, I don't think they think anything about it anymore. I don't know that. I know Parker's probably got some strong views, but he's in it every day. But I just think that the kids that go to college and are going to the games and are having fun, they're partying and they're going to school, I don't think it bothers them at all. They're like, it's this
they've
new
got
wave.
all the advantage.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they have all the power.
absolutely.
Why would they want to give any of that up?
Yeah, so I don't know. And I'm with you, George. Like 20, 25 grand, that's what that stuff was supposed to be. And it was actually supposed to be name, image, and likeness. If you had your name, your image, or your likeness used, then there you go. I mean, you're going to get some money, but that would cause a lot of animosity in the locker room as well. So they had no plan for it. They still don't have a plan for it, but it's totally upside down.
Stop there. Hour number 1 is in the books. We've got a fun 4 o'clock hour coming. You'll see it when you see it, or you'll hear it when you hear it on the George Plaster Show.
The Nashville Sounds bring you 3 can't-miss nights this week. Score a Jackie Robinson replica jersey, a Jacob Mizorowski bobblehead, and the fan-favorite ice cream jersey. Get here early. When they're gone, they're gone. See the full giveaway lineup and grab tickets now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circa Sports Kentucky. From baseball to basketball, hockey to golf, Circa Sports has it all. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High limits, player-friendly pricing, and enhanced in-game options. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circa Sports has you covered. And don't forget to visit Kentucky's largest sportsbook, Circa Sportsbook, located at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Download the Circa Sports Kentucky app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 18 or older and located in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get ready, Middle Tennessee. The sweetest weekend of the year is almost here. Don't miss the 85th annual Middle Tennessee Strawberry Festival in beautiful Portland, Tennessee, May 8th and 9th. Kick things off Friday night with a free strawberry jam concert and fireworks, food trucks, live music, and fun for all ages. Then on Saturday, it's non-stop family fun. Over 200 vendors, carnival rides, Kid Town USA, live music, magic shows, and the big parade celebrating being very proud to be an American. Admission's free, there's free parking and shuttle service, and strawberries galore while they last. Mark your calendar, May 8th and 9th, only at the Middle Tennessee Strawberry Festival.
Nashville, it's back. Cromwell Media, alongside Fox 17, brings you the 5th annual 615 Open, presented by Gary Force Acura and Atmos Energy. May 28th at Hermitage. Golf with purpose, supporting Folds of Honor. Register now at 615open.com.
I was a police officer and a motorcycle cop for 20 years. I was an accident reconstructionist. Then I was in a really bad motorcycle accident, and I called Ponce Law.
When the insurance company tried to deny Chip's claim, we were happy to fight for him. We let Chip recover while we got him the money that he deserved.
So if you've been injured, call Ponce Law. The call was free, and they helped me.
Call Ponce Law, justice for all, 615-244-4321.
I'm Emmitt Smith. Pro football and fatherhood have taught me you need the right equipment for what life throws your way, including an opioid emergency. I've lost teammates and loved ones to opioid poisoning. It's the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S. But now I have the power to save a life, and so do you. Lay, spray, 3 words to help save someone.
Where did you go with the gator?
Lay the person on their back.
Where'd you go with the
Narcan
gator?
nasal spray as directed to reverse the effects of an opioid
don't
emergency.
Go very fast, because I
Dial
still got to do some stuff
911
to that
and
wheel.
stay with them until emergency help arrives.
All right.
Continue to administer additional doses as needed. An opioid poisoning can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. So learn the signs and symptoms of an opioid emergency and always be ready to rescue. Learn more at readytorescue.com.
This message brought to you by The Game Nashville and Cromwell Media.
It's almost 420, and Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike is throwing an all-day party you don't want to miss. Join the celebration Monday, April 20th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with music all day long. Randy Spencer from DJ Nashville kicks things off, spinning tunes from 11 to 3. Then the Nick Johnson Band takes the stage live from 4 to 10 p.m. Enjoy 420 domestic drafts, mix and match 4 for 20 beer buckets, games, and good vibes all day. Plus, The Buzz will be on site. Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike. Subs, drinks, music, and a family-friendly 420 celebration.
electronicexpress.com. We've got that.
Catch the sounds, then keep it going at Social Cantina, Germantown's home for tacos, margaritas, and good times.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
Of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. Who are the winners of the Cy Young last year?
Tarek Skubal was the American League Cy Young Award winner, and Kelly, I think it was Paul Skeens.
For the National League?
Yeah, with the Pirates. I know it was Skubal. We got half of it. But I think it was Skeens.
I think you're right.
Punch it up there. We got two winners.
Tarek Skubal for the AL, Paul Skeens for the NL.
So the deal, Kelly, I'm kind of stalling around here for a minute. Skubal is likely to be a free agent at the end of the year. It doesn't look like the Tigers are going to pony up Buttercup to pay him, in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions that, it looks like it would take to keep him. But what's interesting is, let's say that all of a sudden Skubal says, okay, I'm going free agency. Now there's a strike. Wow.
And George, what I want to know is why is this where the salary cap issues come in? But why would you not want to keep Tarek Skubal? You just can't afford him. If you paid all the other guys on your team money that you just can't do it, or you just don't think. I mean, why would you not want to keep one of the, the Cy Young winner of last year in the American League? Why would you not want to do that if you're Detroit?
I don't know a lot about their budgetary constraints. Like in Pittsburgh, it has felt like a foregone conclusion that the minute Skeens is eligible, that he will bolt. And unfortunately, he's made some comments in the past about wanting to go to the Yankees and has had to backtrack some of that. What really has gone on in the deal is that Skubal, it's sort of out there that he's leaving at the end of the year. And whether Detroit has either wanted to pony up or not wanted to pony up, it kind of feels like he's leaving. And that's one of those, if we're being honest, when it comes time to talk about a strike at the end of the year, one of the reasons will be because there's only about 4 teams that truly could be in the mix for Skubal. The Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and probably Toronto.
Really?
And that's it.
I don't like, that's what you're supposed to do. And I guess maybe that's why they're having all this discussion about a salary cap and all that. But I just think that when you've got a guy, like in my profession, when you had a guy that was as good as he is, you're going to do everything in your power to keep him. I mean, whether you got to do something with the roster or whatever, but like we all know in Major League Baseball, that's what it's about. It's about pitching. And if you got a stud like that, I just don't understand. Now, Paul, I understand when you come up free agency and you don't want to stay, and it doesn't matter, what they offer you, you're probably not going to stay. I mean, I guess that happens, but I just don't understand how you say, well, he's gone, we can't pay him. That just doesn't fall under, my scope of like, he's one of the best in the game. Why would you not do everything in your power to keep him?
Economics. So I got a question for y'all, and I think you'll enjoy thinking about it and then answering it. So there's been a lot of water cooler talk over the last few weeks. Titans and Jeremiah Love, right?
Yeah.
A ton. Is it possible that he's gone when the Titans pick at number 4? And think about what I'm saying. Not necessarily the 3 teams that are above the Titans. I mean, we know the Raiders are going Fernando Mendoza. That's pretty much a given. But 2 and 3, maybe they don't have a need for Love, but maybe they're trying to jump the Titans to get to him. People like the Rams, who feel like they could win it all this year. What do y'all think?
Parker, go ahead, brother.
Yes, I do think there's a possibility because the draft presents scenarios every year which we didn't think would be a possibility. If the top 3 were to stay the same, and assuming there's no trades, I don't think Jeremiah Love goes before 4, just because, like you said, Fernando Mendoza is going to be a Raider. The Jets, have Breece Hall. I believe was it a franchise tag with Breece Hall? I don't think they're going to go running back. The Cardinals, they have a lot of people already in the running back room. So unless there's a trade, I do not see Jeremiah Love going before the Titans.
Yeah, but that's not really the question. The question is somebody going to trade up to get ahead of the Titans to see through it that they don't even have a decision to make?
I just don't know who would. Maybe Cincinnati, but
Cincinnati, when I think about it, Cincinnati sucks on defense. Why would they be jumping in to get Jeremiah Love? I mean, I'm talking about people that have got a chance to win it all this year, that believe they do. And the Rams, for me, might be at the top of that list.
Yeah, but they have Kyron Williams. I wouldn't do that.
What about somebody like the Seahawks who just lost their guy to free agency? He was the Super Bowl MVP. I could see that happening, George, because I've always said this, and I said this the other day. Like, you take a running back in today's game when you feel like the rest of your roster is pretty solid. I just don't understand where we're getting this Jeremiah Love, all this talk from. And it could be some smoke screens that the Titans are putting that out there saying that's who we're going after. And then they're trying to, hide who they're really going after. I don't know that. But I just don't see the need for running backs like they used to be. They just, I can't, I would, like, if I'm a GM, I'm never doing that. I'm going to go get 1, 2nd, 3rd if I need that. But, like, if I've got everything on my roster that's good and I feel good about it, then I'm going to go after a running back. I can remember when I was in Minnesota and they were talking about Adrian Peterson. Well, we had a pretty good team, but, like, Adrian's one of those guys that he's kind of a generational dude. I don't know if this – I mean, do y'all think Jeremiah Love is a generational dude? Do you really?
100%, yes.
I don't know,
I
man.
don't think this is the typical running back discussion. I think Jeremiah Love, if it was Jahmyr Gibbs, which he's getting compared to, or if this was, I don't know, Bijan Robinson, would you feel comfortable taking him at 1st overall?
I'm not ever. I'm just not. That's just. I'm a quarterback. I was in that. I'm just not doing it. I'm not going to take a running back like that. I'm just not doing it because that's not where the game is now. I'm just not doing it.
I understand that. Herm Edwards came on the show last week and said it didn't matter if you have a superstar running back if he doesn't have an offensive line. The problem is, and you've brought that up, Kelly, I just don't know where they're going to go offensive line in the 1st round because Francis Mauigoa plays right tackle. J.C. Latham is in his 3rd year, and you're hoping that he's going to be your right tackle. You don't know. Spencer Fano is also a right tackle. You're not going to move either of those guys to left. I just don't know where they're going to go offensive line in the first round.
Well, first of all, I think if Salah's influence is really it's going to be defense. Jim Wyatt does a deal with a bunch of media where he surveys us and says, who do you think they're drafting? And I said, David Bailey. That's what I think they're going to do. But I also know the landscape, and here is the landscape. The Titans have absolutely nothing on offense that scares anybody.
No.
Absolutely nothing. From a wide receiver standpoint, they haven't got anything that scares anybody. And ultimately, you're coming into a new stadium a year from now with a dull football team. As it stands right now, a pretty dull brand of football. Would love instantly change that. I will say this, Kelly. I haven't been big on this move, but I'm starting to warm to it because, frankly, nothing else about the Titans excites anybody.
I can see. I really do, George. I was thinking about that the other day when you said that last week or the week before, when you said that they've got to have somebody that moves the needle because they are going into a new stadium. And I was listening to somebody on the radio talking about how they didn't. It was a congressman, I think, that didn't like, the people having to pay what they're having to pay for the new stadium. But it's already passed, so it's coming. So you have to have some excitement, and I can see that being the only thing that you would draft that guy for. Now, if he's a generational guy like Parker said he may be, I don't know. I'm not big on running backs anymore. I'm not that guy.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm just not that guy. But I think you may be right because he may move the needle and he may get people a little bit excited about it.
Here's something that's unfair, but I am going to say it. The hiring of Robert Saleh didn't move any big needles. People didn't go out and have parades and go, oh, thank God we got Robert Saleh. And I don't mean that to be ugly toward him. He was a dud with the Jets. Their offense was a dud. But frankly, about 90% of coaches who would have gotten that job would have ended up having to say the same thing. So you have to weigh his track record and then say, well, now, wait a minute. In San Francisco, he was a defensive stud.
Right.
But for the purposes of, did it get people off their couches going, man, get me tickets. The Saleh era has begun. No, it didn't.
Well, that's the thing, too, because in New York, the defense was never a problem. Defense was never a problem in San Francisco. He talked about the things that he would do differently. Here, if you stockpile everything on the defensive end, it doesn't matter how good your defense is if your offense can't do anything, right? You're not going to win football games. I think they need to add more weapons. And Kelly, this is why I'm so high on Jeremiah Love. I think he's the best player in the draft. And if he falls to you at number 4, I think that is a gift. And I don't think there's any second guessing it.
I tell you what, listening to y'all both talk, I tell you what I really applaud Robert Saleh of doing is hiring an offensive coordinator who used to be a head coach that can help him with head coach duties if he has a question. But he's running the offense, and I think obviously that's why he made that pick, is because he feels confident and he feels like he's got a guy that's capable of running the offense. He's kind of a wild child if you watch him on the sideline, but I think he's going to lean on him, and I think he's going to listen to him. And hey, Brian Daboll might love Jeremiah Love, and if he does, then hey, if he does, and he's the best player on the draft, and Terry talked about that the other day. They're going to take the best player that's on the board at that point, and Parker's saying that it's Jeremiah Love. He could be the best player in the draft, so we'll see because that's what they say they're going to get, the best player on the board.
In fairness to what the national talking heads are putting out there, they're all saying he's the best player in the draft. But, you hear all that. We're going to take the best player available. Well, you can hear that all you want. About 80% of the time, that's a load of crap. Most teams go with where it is they have the most needs.
Right.
Yes?
Correct. 100%.
So
100%.
At this time of the year, when you hear a team say, we're going with what the draft board tells us, pay no attention to that. It's a load of bull. They're going to where the need is the worst. And unfortunately, with the Titans, it's a tie for about 7 different places.
But if David Bailey's gone, like I think David Bailey's gone at number 2 to the Jets, doesn't that help make the pick a little bit easier in your mind?
Not if they've fixated on defense.
That's the thing, too, because I've heard Sonny Styles being thrown around, too. But if we're talking about positional value and you go off-ball linebacker versus a running back, which one are you taking?
I don't know. I mean, look, it's a lot easier after the fact to know what to do. Hindsight's always 20/20. I said it in early February. If you go with Jeremiah Love, you better be damn certain that he is an absolute stud of studs, because you have got so many other needs. You better be 100% certain.
My thing in being in that league for a long time, if you got dudes on defense that can get pressure on the passer without you having to bring extra guys, then you've won games. You're going to win games. And you look at what the Titans have done the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, they have not been able to get much pressure on anybody with their front four. And, they're going to a 4-man scheme now. And if you've got a guy that can do that, you're ahead of the game. Running backs are dime a dozen, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe if he's a generational talent, man, we're going to wait to see that, man, and time will tell. And it's always awesome to see the Mel Kipers of the world when, he was talking about, the Sanders kid last year. Like, I can't believe this has happened. I've never seen anything like this before. They all have these, like, we have 85,000 mock drafts, and nobody knows who's going to get who. And it's just funny, in the first 5 picks, Mel Kiper or Todd McShay or all these dudes have talked about this guy, and it doesn't go anything like they thought. It's just, It's awesome to me.
Stop there. After the break, I'm not going to tell you who's coming up, except to say it won't be dull. That's the hint. It won't be dull. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Bowling night.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, I told the truth when I said you need to stick around. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it won't be dull. He is, of course, WWE Hall of Famer, professional wrestling promoter, and now managing partner and co-owner of the Nashville Cats. That was something that took place late during March Madness. Probably didn't get as much attention as it deserved, but Jeff Jarrett joins us on the show. Jeff, how in the world are you?
My man, George Plaster. Look at us all videoed up here, us old school guys, AM. We've come a long way, but no, a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me on here. Yeah, it is. Life's crazy. Who would have thought all those years ago that me and you'd be sitting here talking about arena football on a Friday night at Clarksville with a beautiful arena. So how you guys doing today?
Well, first of all, I'm laughing because never has a truer word been said about technological deficiencies than when it comes to me. Now, you look like you've got it under control. You got a nice mic there. I mean, it looks like you're ready to play.
Well, you're just giving me a layup. I'll get my podcast plug in here. I do a podcast every week from this chair. New episodes drop every Tuesday morning. It's My World with Jeff Jarrett. But no, that's the only reason I have this set up. I can assure you that. But get a lot of work done here. I can just go right downstairs and eat my steak dinner here in a little while, but come back up here and come to work. But all good, my man. How are you guys doing? Beautiful weather out here.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. I'm looking forward to being in Clarksville Friday. We're going to do our show live there, and then I'll be involved in the TV broadcast. So let me just kind of throw it out there. Why did you get involved in this?
Oh, man. So first off, you mean you're going to be doing your show live this Friday?
Absolutely.
So there is no doubt I'm crashing Friday. Just get ready. Just get that. I'm giving you the heads up. George, you may get a guitar shot before you even go on the air Friday night. But
I love it.
How'd that get?
Bring it on.
You know, local Nashville sports fans will probably know this, that me and Coach Fisher have somewhat I'll call it a storied career. For a few years, I wasn't real sure if Coach was a fan of Old Double J because signed Pac-Man Jones at one time in 2002 when I launched TNA Wrestling. Me and Frank Wycheck, longtime buddies, we had a little conversation. I said, hey, Frank, I'm going to kind of get up in your face and give you the business, but I'll carry on with my promo. So the entire offensive line was there that night, and Frank was okay. Fred was okay. When I got down to Zach Pillar, it was just a completely different story. He came over that railing, and then my dressing room, and as they say in our business, it was all a shoot. None of that was pre-planned. Zach coming over there, and I've told guys, I've been in the ring with a lot of strong guys, but the person that was the strongest guy I've ever been in the ring with was Steve Mongo McMichael, and Zach's kind of cut from the same mold. The upper body strength, it's what they do is toss guys around, and so Zach tossed me around like a rag doll. But so I was on the opposite side of that. So, Coach, I wasn't real sure, but we've been social friends for quite some time. But literally, George, about 2 years ago when he first started really from a consulting basis, he reached out to me, and then another call, and a couple of months go by. And then finally it was in the fall. He said, hey man, I really want you to sit down and take a look at this. And we kind of came to an agreement. And I'll tell you, man, I've kind of fallen in love. Like, it doesn't surprise me. I'm a promoter. I'm a third generation wrestling promoter. And so when I looked at it from that perspective, what a crazy, fast, entertaining game. Look, it goes without saying in the ratings world, not just in sports, but across all genres, it's football and others. And so when you can have football in arena, lightning speed, learn real quick about our coach, Coach Arbette. He's got 4 championships. So Jeff is no doubt going to put an incredible team on the field. He's got an incredible coaching staff. I come in on the promotion and marketing and production side. When I heard that every home game was going to be played at the arena up in Clarksville, everything just lined up, George. And I'm very proud. I'm from Nashville. I'm a part of a baseball ownership group, but we're up in Illinois and over in Indiana. So being a part of a sports franchise in Nashville, I can't tell you how. A lot of pride. I'll say that. A kid that grew up in South Nashville, and I've traveled all over the world and in my 40-year career in professional wrestling, but to be a part of a hometown sports club, it's a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Jeff, I can just hear this voice in the background, Frank Wycheck, saying to me, "Hey, I'm friends with Jeff Jarrett."
You do it well. You do impersonations well. I miss Frank. I tell you what, if he was on here today, boy, would he be beaming.
Oh, my God.
He'd love it. He would, because he always would come into our world and, he wrestled a match for us. And I'll never forget it at Miss Auditorium. He came through the curtain after it was all over. He was red face. And then you're really out of breath. You go completely white. He found the nearest concrete slab that he could lay down. And no kidding, I went back to him about 10 minutes later. I said, "Frankie, baby, you all right?" He goes, "I've played in the Super Bowl and I've never been out of this breath." I said, "Buddy, that has nothing to do with conditioning. It has everything to do with nerves. You were out of your element." So,
hey, Jeff, you knew him, so the way he would talk. It was kind of sing-songy, and
oh yeah,
man, I miss him.
Yes,
I miss him a ton. So let me go here. The Clarksville thing appears to be working. I know you all have sold more than 1,000 season tickets, and that's really cool to see that.
We are halfway, over 1,500. So that is, again, if folks listen to this, if you have not been in that arena, just think miniature Bridgestone. It is not a bad seat in the house, and I'll just say that as an old promoter line. It really is, and you're going to be on top of the I call it entertainment. Let me rephrase that. You're going to be on top of the game. It's going to be up close and personal, hitting right into the dasher boards and the nets and everything with it. So yeah, Clarksville. It was a big selling point for myself in understanding the landscape, and again, a sellout's going to be 3,700 people. We're halfway there in season tickets, and I know tickets are going fast, but you can get your tickets at NashvilleCats.com, F&M Bank Arena, or of course the easy way is go straight to Ticketmaster, and very affordable, George.
Now, Jeff, Kelly Holcomb, who played in the NFL, is going to ask you some stuff, and he knows a hell of a lot more about wrestling than I do.
Good.
I need both of y'all to teach me about WrestleMania.
Me too, because I don't know hardly anything.
But hold on,
George.
If you're asking me about football questions, I'm not the guy. I'm the wrestling guy. Kelly, you're gonna have to take the lead on football.
Jeff, it's funny because I talked to George this morning. He goes, "We're going to have Jeff Jarrett on the show," and I said, "You talking about Jeff Jarrett, the wrestler that I used to watch when I was growing up?" I tell people this all the time. I grew up in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and I can remember going to the Fayetteville Rec Center, and I think it was around 1979, 1980, and I watched the Junkyard Dog. And the ring was so high that when they picked guys up to slam them, their feet would hit the top, the drop down ceiling tiles.
Oh yeah,
that was hilarious, man. That was the greatest thing. But I want to know this. How is your body after all that? Because everybody talks about, well, wrestling's fun. I'm like, whatever. But you know what? You have to be in great physical shape from what you guys. How is your body? Because mine's tore up. I tell George all the time, I'm tore up, man. I had to take a shot this morning. I couldn't walk. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I will say this, but by the grace of God, I feel great. I've been blessed. One thing, I have always been kind of a cardio junkie, but just this month, April 6th of this month, was celebrating my 40th year in the business. And so I was taught, 20 years ago, if you want to live a long life, live a long life, and that means stretch. I've always been really into stretching. Over the last 10
every day.
I've gotten into yoga, but I was always a big stretcher and stayed in the gym. And so conditioning, I always kind of kept that as a priority. But that, and then on the flip side of that is, a lot of guys in our business, I'll say this, unfortunately got into the pills. I never was a pill guy, and I bet I've taken 5 Advil in my entire life. I'm not into the anti-inflammatories because I just think it masks things. But I think that is, and I've had obviously a bit of luck, but a lot of God's grace.
Yeah, I stretch every day, Jeff. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I stretch every day, man. You're absolutely right. I think that's a key to longevity. So I know that you got into it with the Cats this year. What is different in promoting wrestling, which you've always done, to promoting cat stuff?
Buddy, I'll tell you a quick story. My wife, Karen, asked me as this kind of conversation, and she heard, you guys can imagine, the wife hearing phone calls. And one time after the call, she asked me, she's like, what the heck are you doing? You don't about football. I said, look, hold on. They have 7 home games. And the thing about it is, in wrestling, you promote a show that comes in, nowadays twice a year, 3 times a year, but mostly, 1 or 2 times a year. We've got 7. So when you're really marketing, you're looking at selling the season tickets, 7 games, 7 home games dialed into that. And so the game of football, I don't have to tell you, but, you guys wear helmets. And so unless you're the QB, and you were, so, but it's hard, the personalities and all that. But the arena game, the AF1 League, we have nets. We've got a campaign that we just launched last Monday. It's called the AF1, The Ball Never Dies. And this game, to me, is fascinating. You can score off the kickoff. If it comes off the nets, it's a live ball. You can recover it, score a touchdown that way. So there's a lot of nuances that really attracted me to the game, that it's a unique deal. Lots and lots of scoring. So I don't have to tell you guys about sports. Baseball speeding up the game and trying to get scoring. Football, obviously, you can't even sneeze at a quarterback these days without a tip. But that's all about scoring. They just want to amp up scoring and make it entertainment. That's how it is. And so I think that's good for the television product. And again, that's kind of the things, when I looked at it from a live event perspective, people are going to come out, spend their hard-earned money, buy merch, have a good adult beverage, but they're going to be entertained by the game of football. And I don't have to tell you, in Tennessee, football is king with not just college, Titans, and all of that. So it's a great product. And the stuff I've done reviews, and, our Vice numbers just came out. We have a Vice Game of the Week. Our game this past Saturday was up 53% year over year. Our social media metrics. So we're just, this is only the 3rd year of the league. So it's a brand new league, but we're going to get there.
It's crazy because last year I was flipping through the channels and I saw Vice and I saw an arena game, and I cut it on that dadgum thing and watched it. And I watched a bunch of it. And I'm like, how healthy is the league right now with all that? Because I know that the arena league went away for a couple of years and now it's back. How healthy is it, Jeff?
That is one thing that I've done and it's a great question, because I've done quite a bit of due diligence and understanding the ebbs and flows. And we can all go back 20 something years ago and understand, it's NBC. They had really, they had Kiss as an owner, John Bon Jovi. At the end of the day, they kind of overextended themselves, and a lot of times arena essentially went away. But I'm going to give our man, Coach Fisher, I still call him Coach, but he's Commissioner Fisher, and he's put together, we've got 9 teams. We'll be adding more next year. But yeah, the 9 franchises we have, they're super stable. They understand what we're trying to accomplish here. I got to tip my cap to Coach that he's a football guy. And I tell everybody, if you've been able, there's 32 head coaching jobs in the NFL, the biggest and baddest and the most lucrative league in the world. And if you can be a head coach in that league for 22 years, you know something about the game. And so that's why he is the reason. He's a huge part of why I'm here, is that I'll do the promoting and marketing and production side of things. He's going to lead the football charge. I'm working with him on multiple initiatives on the league level. So it's really, really it excites me about the future, because it is a brand being, a lot of people, what is AF1? Well, we're building the brand brick by brick, literally.
And this will be my last question, George. I could literally sit here and talk with him all day, man. Tojo Yamamoto and Scott Stein, like all these guys, man. Come on, man. I could do that. But I want to ask you this. My last question. How cool was it to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
You know what? What was I just mentioned April 6th was that just passed by. I was inducted April 6th of 2018. Which, 32 years, was that right? 32. Yeah. But 32 years to the day. And I thought a lot about my grandmother. My grandmother was a single mom of two who got into this industry because she needed a second job. And she started selling wrestling tickets and worked her way up in this area, specifically Nashville, what we would call a CFO. And then my dad, as a high schooler, he started promoting shows, then he wrestled, and then he went back to promoting. So I'm a third generation. So I felt like that day when I stood on that stage, I really felt like me and my dad and my grandmother went in, and it was just a super, super cool thing. I get to go into another Hall of Fame early July. It's called the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and I had that same emotion that I feel like I'm going in as a family member.
So, Jeff, I have time for 2 questions. I'm going to make the most of it.
It's WrestleMania week, so don't screw this question up.
I'm going to try not to. I'll start with a football question first.
Okay, rock it.
So we've seen kind of the demise of other football leagues that are not the NFL, whether it's, the USFL, the old AFL, XFL. What has allowed AF1 to kind of have this sustainability? And you said, that they're growing too. Y'all are going to continue to add these franchises. What has allowed that to happen within the AF1?
I tell you what, you can be better than, lesser than, or different than. And if you're different than, and look, nobody is going to out NFL the NFL. It is what it is. God bless 11 on 11. My former boss, Vince McMahon, tried with the XFL, the UFL. I got buddies at Fox Sports that, football rates. But the thing that about AF1, when you drill it right down to it, is when you watch the physical gameplay with the nets and everything that kind of go with the game, it's sustainable because it's a product. Again, we're talking summer football. It starts in April, but, to get it, we're not out in the heat. So there's a lot of things about an arena property that goes with the marketing, the entertainment side of it, selling beer, to be quite frankly. There's a lot of upside of revenue streams. And once we continue to get some momentum, a television property in a mainstream way will come. But that's the thing that I look at it, and it's very core. Just like wrestling, you got to get right down to what is the physical product. And when you look at our game, it is unbelievably entertaining.
Okay, so like Kelly, I'm a football guy. I played in college. I'm a gym rat. I love getting in the gym every morning. I've been trying to find new ways to incorporate cardio into my routine. You mentioned you're a big cardio guy. So what's your favorite form? Is it sprinting? Is it incline walking, the row machine? What are we talking here?
Buddy, I work out. I'm going to get a cheap plug in UFC in Hendersonville, but I work out there at the gym. I need to invite you because when I say cardio, my cool down is probably harder than cardio, but what HIIT is that when you get in, you got to, kettlebells and step ups and a lot, lunges, step ups, all those box jumps. That kind of workout is what I consider the hardcore cardio. You got to get your heart rate up over 150. We're getting into the weeds here, so I apologize.
It's okay.
But the bikes and the treadmills, I like a Stairmaster. Jacob's Ladder is a good one. But at the end of the day, got to wear your watch. We have all this technology. You got to get your heart rate up there. And there you go, my man, you got it. And also I push, pull, and legs. I rotate on 3. I think you have to really, I don't want to say go crazy high reps, but you have to get your heart rate up while you're working out. Those guys that come in, scroll, do a set, scroll, do a set.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
You invite me, I'll be out there.
Come on, get out there.
Jeff, you need to take George with you too. He don't even know what HIIT is. He don't know what anything is. He needs to back away from the buffet is what George needs to do.
He's allergic, guys. I've been listening to that man since good Lord.
Don't say it.
I better back off of that because it'll age my nose. But
Hey, Jeff,
yes, sir.
You're not going to believe how I'm going to end this. as good an intern as I've ever had, and I've had a ton of them over the years, Jacob Underwood, wanted me to ask you this. You ready?
Oh, God, here we go.
Which wrestler competing at WrestleMania this weekend is your favorite in-ring promo?
Promo.
Yep. So it's a good question.
Because it's a tough one to kind of land on. Look, one of my all-time favorite promo guys was the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And Cody is not like his dad, which is a good thing. I had a father that was in the business, and so you have to kind of you got to cut your own path and all that. And Cody's done that. Cody pours his heart out almost to a fault. I'm going to say, unless I could really look at the roster, but Cody jumps off the page at me because he's very authentic. When he speaks, you know it's coming from his gut and not between the ears.
Do you have any idea how much fun this is for us?
Oh, come on now.
I'm serious.
Get the whole listener. No, get on up to Clarksville. It is a blast. I love doing, now that we're doing videos, I was about to say just doing radio, but I love talking sports. You guys, we could talk about the NBA, our dadgum Preds. God almighty, they didn't get in. But
it was close.
We could talk Titans. The draft is coming up. I'm sure you guys have been chopping.
Who do you think they're going to take? Jeff, who do you think they're going to take?
Before you came on.
Oh, I'm not enough in the weeds. Give me a couple options.
Everybody's saying they're going to take Jeremiah Love, which is running back. Which, me being a quarterback in today's game, I don't like. Parker said he's going to be a generational talent. I'm more on offensive lineman, but what the Titans need is an edge rusher.
Look, you just look at the success in the league, but certainly here in Titan land. If we ain't good in the trenches, we're not good. Period. It's
everywhere.
It's just that simple. So I'm hoping they stack, offensive, defensive folks on the line.
This has been a blast having you on. I can't wait to see you Friday.
Get ready.
Come up to the TV booth. I mean, we need all the excitement we can get in this thing.
Buddy, you give me a microphone. I come from the professional wrestling world. I've never met a microphone that I don't like, pal.
Me too. Jeff, thank you so much for doing this. This was a blast for us.
Let's do it again, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Hope to see everybody Friday. F&M Bank Arena kickoff is at 7. Doors open at 6. I'm the Cats captain. I got voted that the very first. It was kind of no, I love it. I'm going to be signing autographs from 6 to 6:30. First 1,000 fans get a rally towel. So we've got all kind of promotions. Lots of fun up there. But doors open at 6. Kickoff at 7.
He's the best. He is Jeff Jarrett. It has been a thrill to have him on. Jeff, see you Friday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See you, brother.
See you, man.
I told you it wouldn't be dull.
That's awesome, dude. I could have literally talked to him all day.
You were fangirling, Kelly. Let's be honest. You were fangirling.
Oh, I mean,
I've ever seen you fangirl.
I grew up watching wrestling, man. I love that garbage, dude.
And as little as I knew about it, when he started throwing out Tojo Yamamoto, that's one I watched, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
I even knew about him, so I'm not a wrestling guy.
And to think that he listened to our show, Kelly, in its heyday, that's scary.
Yeah, man, but it's all the wrestling back in the day, man. That was a true story when the Junkyard Dog was just getting his career started. He came to the Fayetteville Rec Center, man. It was crazy. Awesome. I love it.
It doesn't get any better than the Fayetteville Rec Center, does it?
No, it did not.
What's the capacity of the Fayetteville Rec Center?
I don't know. We had probably 100 chairs around that thing, man, and everybody was talking trash. And then when I'm serious, man, when they put them up and they slammed them, their feet was touching the drop down ceiling and the tiles, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? But
days, Kelly.
They try to, all those guys back in the day try to get the fans involved, and they talk smack to you, and then you'd get up and you'd flick them a bird, and you'd do everything. I mean, it was awesome.
So I'll tell you one of my best wrestling stories when we come out of the break on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do? Are you tired of living with back pain? Center.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Guinness Music City Rugby Showdown brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity, hear the hits, experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of pro rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park and get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
94.9 The Fan.
Well, the timing of having Jarrett on the show was really interesting. WrestleMania is this weekend in Vegas. And Kelly, I don't pretend to know a lot in that business, but here's my best wrestling story. You ready?
Yeah.
So Kevin Nash, former University of Tennessee basketball player.
Big old boy.
Yeah, under Don DeVoe. Well, he used to play basketball with a group of us at Julia Green on Saturday mornings. And so his friend and another former University of Tennessee basketball player, Rip Johnson, they were good friends. And Rip and I went one night to the Municipal Auditorium to watch Kevin Nash wrestle. Now, I don't remember, and Parker, you might want to look it up. I don't remember what his ring name was, but Kevin Nash was 6'10", 6'11". He was a big old boy. And
I don't know if he ever. I think it was just Kevin Nash. I don't know if he had something, but I don't remember. What it was.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, the night we went. I mean, we are.
Hold on, Big Daddy Cool, Diesel, Oz, Steel, the Giant Killer, and Vinny Vegas. Any of those sound familiar?
Not really.
No.
All I can say is this. You can have whatever opinion you want to have about what level of real it is. But when a 6'10" throws you down, it's not fake hurt.
No.
There's some athletic ability to this that goes with that, to me, that goes without saying that, yeah, there's certain pieces of who wins and who doesn't win. But if you think that doesn't get physical, get on the front row of one of those deals and then tell me.
Yeah, everybody's seen those deals on TV where they've kind of gone behind the curtain, and those guys have to learn how to fall. They have to learn how to take a punch. They have to learn how to do all that and make it more dramatic in the ring. But yeah, that's what I tell people. They say, well, it's fake. Well, just like you said, they have the outcomes kind of already scripted out. But I mean, when you got a guy like Kevin Nash falling on you, or putting an elbow to you while you're laying on the ground, or throwing you down. I mean, he's going to throw you the right way, but you still got to fall the right way so you don't hurt yourself. But those guys got to be in tremendous physical shape.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like basketball, like I said the other day. Like, I don't understand how those basketball players, Jordan, Shaquille, all those guys aren't beat up at the end of their life. It goes the same for wrestling, man. They abuse their bodies for 15, 20 years, and I don't see how they get through it, man.
And
He's in incredible shape, George.
Yes, that was
incredible.
The thing. I had seen Jeff 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Locally somewhere, and we talked for a couple of minutes, and I kind of thought that then. I was like, wow, this guy is not walking around like some cripple. He's got his stuff together. What I really would like to talk to him about at some point, he turned into a world-class promoter.
Right.
And I would love to know kind of what was his secret sauce.
I think it's one of those deals where you don't know anything going into it going in, George, but you just have to learn through experience. You have to make mistakes. I think that's what life is, and you can tell when he's behind a mic. And he's comfortable behind a mic, and if you're going to be a promoter and you're going to be a wrestler, you have got to have fans gravitate to your personality and gravitate to what you're selling them. And it's, like you put a mic in front of him, man, he can talk. I love it. I mean, I'm serious. I could have talked to him all day about guys he wrestled. That was really, that made my week.
I'm going to watch Friday night, because after our show's over at 5, I'm actually doing the game as the play-by-play announcer on their TV package with Joe Dubin. But I'm going to really watch closely wherever they put Jeff in the autograph signing, because I'll bet you there's still people waiting when the game starts.
Oh,
he
absolutely,
is that
man.
popular. It's almost like he needs a stamp. Jeff Jarrett. Yeah. Great to see you, Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, absolutely, man.
The signing of the autographs on his end will be the single biggest thing that happens.
And he grew up here. He grew up in, he's from Hendersonville, and the South is where all that stuff really started, man. They had all these wrestling associations in the South, and he was part of it. You look at stuff when you're looking him up, man, like he's went to the WWE and the WCW, and now he's doing AEW stuff, and it's just like, you cannot be that's what intrigues me about him going to the Arena League, because that's totally out of his comfort zone. But you got to be, it's just like kind of Kevin Dyson. Kevin's not scared to do stuff like that. I mean, I've told Kevin when I sat with him at the table at our football foundation deal, like, after football, he went back to school and he wanted to be a principal. And, all the things that he's done now, he's running a charter school. I mean, Kevin is not scared. Yeah, Kevin is not scared to go out of the box and to do things. And it's the same thing with Jeff Jarrett about this Arena League. He don't know anything about football. He knows a lot about promoting, but I think that's so cool for him to get into, and I know that he'll help the Nashville Cats.
So a friend of mine is sending me something. I'm going to read you here. He actually grew up on Timber Hill and Harding before moving to Hendersonville. The listener, who in this case is Tony, Tony in Nolensville says, the Jarretts lived 3 doors up the street from me, and I used to go swimming at their pool and went swimming with Tojo, Len Rossi, Jeff's dad, and several other wrestlers. Jeff's older brother was Jerry Jr. and is about 5 years older. We all went to the same church.
Awesome.
Man.
And he's a down-to-earth guy, man. He's done so many things in his life, but you can tell, like, you can always tell when somebody's phony, and he's an absolute original. Love talking to him. Could have talked to him all day. He is a real man's man. I love
it. The whole 2 hours, and I would have been
that was great.
Even though I don't know a thing about wrestling, I just had fun talking to him.
Yeah,
I do. I could have handled y'all with that.
Yeah, he's really cool. Here's what else is cool. Plaster bet of the day.
Oh,
Kelly,
here we go.
It's excellence. Now, let me say this, okay? I don't deserve last night's win. The Braves are down 5-3 in the 8th inning and rally to win 6-5. And Dominic Smith, who has been a really good pinch hitter over the years, I think his last team was the Mets. They let him go. The Braves snapped him up. He was their DH last night, and he killed it. So sometimes you're better to be lucky than good. But, Kelly, I know this excites you. We have 2 plays this evening.
Oh, yeah, you're making people money. I know that, George.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're going Tampa Bay, very small odds against the White Sox. Tampa Bay's better than that. Take them, give it a try.
All right.
And then the other one.
That's easy. That's cherry picking,
Well,
George.
you don't know that.
The White Sox stink.
You don't know that.
Yeah, but it is baseball, Parker.
With it.
It's baseball, Parker.
But you would wish to have that record.
I would.
Yeah. Okay, the other one is I'm going to take the Sixers at home against Orlando. First of all, a lot of question marks about Joel Embiid. I don't think he's playing. And
I don't think he is.
Honk if you've heard that one before. That poor guy, for such a great talent, is the most injury-bugged athlete going. Joel Embiid. I kind of feel sorry for him.
Trust the process.
He's 7 foot something, though, is he not? I mean, that's got to take a toll on your body going up and down that court, man.
He needs to stretch more, Kelly. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I do it every day, man.
Yeah. Look where it's gone.
I also saw that little misprint you put up there. You put up the Philly 76ers instead of the Philly.
That wasn't me. No.
Well, hold on a second. Go back to that. Shouldn't you be like fact checking?
Oh, I didn't realize this was come at Parker segment.
Well, I mean, Kelly kind of snuck one in there.
I always pick things out like that, Parker.
That was the most alert Kelly's been in the last.
I'm alert at stuff like that, dog. I always pick that stuff out. I promise.
I just decided to take the knife and twist it a little farther.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow on the show, Danny Evans at the very beginning of it, at 3:00 for the full hour, and then we'll be talking some rugby. See you then.
Laundry piling up? Make it easier with the latest washers and dryers from Electronic Express. We carry top brands like LG, Samsung, Speed Queen, Whirlpool, and GE. So whether you need